come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Rid.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Dance with him the dance of life and death.
In the back, you bastard! Didn't have the guts to fuck me. Fuck you. I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
To taste a life, to embrace its most intimate secrets. Such a burden, such a divine sin.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Rid, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me...
Dr. Swansea asked me to collect
Good
you,
evening,
Dr.
Nurse
Reed.
Brannigan.
Hurry up.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me...
Hurry now, Doctor. It's freezing here.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I apologize, nurse. I needed some time to myself. This has been the longest and strangest night of my life.
You delivered poor Mr. Hampton from a terrible fate. The means to that end should be of little concern, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
If you could point me in the direction of my...
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs.
Thank you, Nurse Crane. Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future.
What is the Pembroke Hospital?
This hospital is not exactly the best of...
It's not exactly the best situation in London either.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are...
Tell me more about
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and...
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be...
Any opinion about the man?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must...
Ah, yes, the burden of command.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan.
You're exhausting your...
No.
Nurse Brand, you don't have... Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed.
That's quite a blunt.
You can call me Milton. I like to...
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure...
You have a keen eye.
No need to explain, Doc.
How is the situation?
You want to hear the situation is all right?
So what do you do?
I've been an
Since you're...
It's a complete disaster.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently.
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped from...
You left an infected...
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doc.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked.
But you're not defending yourself.
You keep people alive your own way.
I'd like to see...
Wise choice, Dr. Reed.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a...
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious.
You must get a...
Sorry.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever.
I wish I could believe you. But what...
How long have you been...
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is winning.
You'd be surprised what dedication...
Sorry.
How is the Pembroke staff?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more
Why is Milton grumpy?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reid, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency?
You keep calling me mortal.
Well, Dr. Reid, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reid. Blood is the...
And why do you believe you're a...
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I...
Please.
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of pustulant blood within my drying veins.
I see. Have you ever...
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cottard.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad.
I'm assuming you...
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies.
Who are the...
I cannot say for sure.
The staff...
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white.
I see. Don't worry.
Thank you, mortal, but do not interfere with them.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require?
I'm curious to know who you were before.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember.
I'll leave you, Mistress... Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the...
You guessed right, Doctor. German shelled.
How is your stay with us?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death.
Can I ask you precisely why?
It's the pain, sir.
Can I do anything?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills.
Who is treating you?
Nobody since the old and tired doctors.
You don't seem worried.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or...
Where were you stationed?
I really don't want to...
No offense.
You were an officer, weren't you?
How close are you to Miss Hall?
To wait for her next nibble is the best...
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you.
So do you let her bite you?
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of...
She could decide to bite less.
Then it's another good reason.
You do realize she's mentally
In her madness, she never refers to...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Disgust on every street corner. The daily
Good evening. Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so...
I'm not sure, Doctor.
Would you say you...
No. No, Thomas is a delicate.
Do you plan to...
Of course not. How could I inflict my...
I'll leave you, Mistress...
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton.
Dr. Reed, is it?
What do you mean?
I was not...
You remained perfectly...
Thank you.
How did you end...
I had received a letter.
Why did he...
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly...
You dared to enter...
I'm just a man.
What is the...
The situation has always been tough. Without...
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay...
Has the gang been...
Ah, no.
Do you know...
Tom? Yes.
Who should I avoid in this part of town?
Not really.
People are still in...
How could it be otherwise?
What do you do for a living?
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless.
Are you...
Not at all,
Why didn't you use your cross again?
That's a very strange question, Doctor.
Have you made...
Not really.
You never came to...
You're preaching to the convert...
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton?
I feel exhausted.
You're in good hand.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. I cannot enter.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reed. I am Thoreau Strickland. Dr. Thoreau Strickland.
Please, could...
I'm a great admirer of...
What made you...
I'm not ashamed to...
It's all...
This epidemic may be this...
I based my...
I'd rather not talk about it.
As long as you're cautious.
You're not the
What can you...
Well, it is all... I'm convinced that this...
Questions were...
True.
Do you need help?
Well, yes.
Do you want me to...
Oh, no, Dr. Reed.
I see. Tell me more about your willingness to
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that...
What is it you really want?
Fair question.
Tell me, Mr. Fiddick.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr.
But why would he hide such crucial...
Because he is a proud father. Ashamed of...
This personal...
I agree.
Do you think keeping his...
All I know is that I'm...
Goodbye, Doctor. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly.
Does my arrival in...
Let us just say that I don't...
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has...
I know we've never met before.
Oh, but I have...
Aren't you too...
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed.
Since you're...
Let's just say I...
Carelessness.
We're here to save lives.
I don't...
Modern...
Tell me, Waverly, what do you...
Strickland is playing with his patient.
Are you thinking about something...
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate...
Why do you...
I strongly believe...
Other people may say that's too
conservative. And what are you going to...
And are you...
Rivalry?
I don't know what you've heard.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive...
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I said...
Be careful what you insinuate, Doctor.
I only want you to admit you used those men...
This is ridiculous. My blood...
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people.
It seems you have...
I refuse to see this in...
We can at least agree on some... Thank you for your time. Good evening, madam. Can I have...
It's my son.
I'm Dr. Jonathan...
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of...
What can you tell me?
Not much to say.
Are you really that rich?
Yes, thanks to my help.
May I ask...
I'm a teacher by profession.
What do you think?
I have had the uttermost...
Is there something in particular?
Some of the staff...
Tell me more about your...
The ambulance driver was quite rude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic.
I share your concern, Mrs. Gott.
I don't expect...
She...
Yes.
Goodbye. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
No.
Really?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose...
Yes.
Could you at least tell me your...
Mortimer.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor...
Not really.
I see.
Yes, maybe.
Why did your mother have you...
My mother just wants the best for me.
Pembroke Hospital...
It's not me.
Is your mother bothering you?
That's tempting, Doctor.
How
So painful.
I'll let you...
Good evening, sir. Doctor. I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, sir.
I don't know if a third opinion...
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I'll...
Tell me about you.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm.
I was more curious about what you were doing.
I'm a carpenter.
Tell me about the doctor.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors and...
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with
Are you satisfied?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time.
I won't lie to you.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues...
In other circumstances, you would be right. Tell me about your injury.
My wife died because of me.
How could your job...
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a...
You can't hold yourself responsible for...
Of course I didn't...
Tell me more about the death of your...
1915. I was in...
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelin.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer.
How are your children?
They were smaller then.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book. I never could keep anything from her.
Good evening, Doctor.
And good evening.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
I managed to arrange to have you...
It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right. It's locked. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet
a colleague.
Not anymore, sir.
What do you mean?
No, sir.
Are you...
Why should I? Sir.
How did you get...
After I left the army.
Have we met?
I don't think so.
When we first talked, you said...
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights...
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work.
Why do you have...
Because these poor fellows have known...
Why close them?
It was for sanitary reasons.
A pawn?
Yes, sir.
Who comes?
I'm very cautious.
What kind of...
With the quarantine.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No.
Do you think you would enjoy...
I don't think so.
So you're ready to...
No, I am not.
You're a wise...
No, Dr. Reed.
Do you really believe goodwill?
As I said, sir.
Quite depressing.
Yes.
Please show me what...
Of course.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse. It's locked, all right.
I'm sorry you ended up on my plain, cold medical bench, sir. I understand you must be...
I cannot enter.
Not now.
It's locked, all right. This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin. The flower's dying. It needs water.